Welcome back to another episode of EF Speedworks. Today we're going to talk about my personal 300ZX. Everything you need to do to LS swap this thing. But first, let's get to where we're going. So, we made it. We're out here in Portland. Beautiful mountains. We're gonna talk about my 300ZX. We got Eric's car, of course. So, this is my 300ZX, 1985, with some big flares. Now, everything that I've done to my car, there's a lot of basics that applies for just about any swap, but there's a lot of things in my car that I did because I wanted to. Like, you'll see when we start talking about it and everything. We have Gendosa flares. These are actually from a 280Z. They're 4-inch in the rear, 3-inch in the front. I do have a 300ZX NA from a newer version, like a 91 rear subframe swap with custom mounts. That's why I had to do flares. I also wanted to do big tire setup, 315s in the rear. These are actually Mustang wheels, so you can see, pretty cheap, and they're pretty light too, so you can see Cody's powder coat there. We had to install a track spec motorsport. This is actually from a C6. We had to try and control the heat because I was having too many heat issues and just overheating. I mean, 220 is not really overheating for these motors, but for me it's just too hot for everything around it, and I like to try to keep it like 210, maybe 190, and that's with this. This was a huge help. We're running the stock fuel tank with twin 450s, battery in the back. I gutted the whole thing. I'm getting a 10-point cage installed. I do have a Pucker Factory harness bar for now until I get the
Pucker Factory again.
Pucker Factory. Pucker Factory. Alright. But yeah, it's pretty gutted in the back. Nothing crazy. I mean, you don't gain a lot of like, you don't shave a lot of weight by the plastics, like what, like maybe 5 pounds total. I just like the gutted look, you know, so you don't have to do this to your car.
Does look like a race car.
Huh?
It does look like a race car.
Yeah, that's the goal. So, but we're getting a 10-point cage by Mike Robinson installed in 2 weeks, so that's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a lot more safe. It's gonna be a little heavier, but nothing, you know, can just turn the boost up a little bit. Sparco Evo seats on both. This is just the newer generation. That one, they look a little different, but they're the same seat, just newer generation. You got MPI Cletus with the American flag. Steering wheel is detachable. Let me just take it off real quick. We have the Holley 12.3, the Pro Dash. Again, you don't need this. I just wanted it.
Yes, you do.
You know, I mean, you do need it because it's beautiful, but
fits good.
Yeah. T56 manual swap, twin disc from Summit Pro, and then I found this for a killer deal, S1 sequential that turns the H pattern to sequential. You still need to use the clutch unless you do like no lift shifts and stuff like that. I don't have no lift shift set up yet, so, but it works really well. We got the Holley 3.5 dash. I have a gear indicator for the shifter. It's pretty neat. Aside from that, it's pretty stock. I gotta get it all ripped apart soon because the cage is getting installed. So, but it's pretty basic inside. It's nothing crazy. All right. LY6 out of a 2015 Silverado. LS3 heads. What are they? 823s.
They're LY6 heads.
Yeah. LS3 intake. We have dual feed to a Y to a single dash 8 feed, dash 8 return. On 3 performance, unfortunately, fuel pressure regulator.
Works good.
It works, yeah, it works. I can't complain. We got a catch can, of course. We need that.
Custom motor flow.
Yep, everything powder coated by Cody, of course. We have some Mission Motor fans, which we're going to be doing some upgrades this winter to Delta PAG. They're just way more. They're just the same size, but there's a lot more CFM. So 80mm VS Racing turbo. Also, one thing that I think every swap should have is swirl pot for your coolant. It helps, trust me. It's basically like you pretty much self bleeds. 4-inch downpipe, but it does.
Except for the spark plug wires.
Yeah, it's fine. Listen, I haven't had it's been almost 1700 miles, no issues. Cusco strut bar, again, you don't need that, but it helps. Aside from that, it's pretty basic. It made a little over 800 on the dyno, and the dyno wasn't set up right, so we're going back to the dyno soon, hopefully in a couple weeks, and then we're gonna be at Race Motor Racing. So if you want to get, you know, lined up next to me, come to Race Motor.
October.
Yeah, October 9th. It'll be my birthday weekend, so come celebrate. I have dirty dingle mounts, okay? They're great mounts if you're an A. My motor's actually rotated, and I welded my mounts fixed at the highest point, so the motor sits pretty high off the subframe. Now, somehow my motor's rotated, right? And there's no way it rotated because of the adjustment, because it's welded. And they're both at the same height, so I'm thinking I bent them out, but I'm gonna make my own mounts this winter, and they're gonna be right to the frame rail, so I can drop the whole suspension and the motor stay in there. So it makes it a lot easier when you cut the rest support to put the motor in, of course. But they're the mounts. The mounts, they're not bad. I don't know if you can see, probably not. Yeah. It's just like half-inch bent, like a 90, you know, so they feel kind of weak, I guess. But when you're making that kind of torque, you know, you're definitely going to bend something. But this is part of the whole race car thing, you know, when you build something.
Mounts and gusseting is a very important thing.
When you build something like this, like nobody shows you. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm driving around, but really you're tinkering with this thing almost every day. So the transmission mount, I used to have a Z32 trans, and then I just recently swapped to a T56. Obviously, you can use the 90, 91 trans mount on the Z32 trans on these. You just got to slot the holes, but I just made my own mount, stock polyurethane bushing on the trans, and then just do a lot of measuring, welding, you know what I mean? Well, we have a Holley Terminator X right in my glove box for now, so you can see. Every time I do a swap, I go Holley just because it's so simple. As far as brakes and suspension, just Z32 twin turbo calipers with adapters, and then 350Z track rotors, I believe. So also, I did not. This isn't important, but G35 side skirts. They fit pretty well. The suspension is everything's polyurethane. I upgraded everything in the rear. Just, I mean, it's stock arms except for the upper camber arms. Aside from everything, it's just stock with it, just polyurethane inserts. With the Z32 rear subframe, I bought, I forgot the name. I'll link it in the description, the mounts that I bought. But they actually don't work for a Z32 trans. They only work for an S13, S14 because the mounts, right, they're shorter, so the bolts actually slide through. I had to get rid of the bolts and then put longer ones and weld them in with the mount. So that's why nobody really does a Z32 subframe on these. Also, they sit wider, but it's easier for me where I live to find Z32 parts than S13, S14 parts. That's why. That's the only reason why I did it.
We live in the mountains.
Yeah, well, as you can see,
literally in the mountains.
Literally in the mountains. So, so one thing that everybody makes fun of me, like both of us really, because we're both.
I make fun of them.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right. Well, yeah. We have no traction issues. Okay. Everybody's like, oh, our 888s are loud, blah blah. I got no traction. When you go to the track, okay, everybody's running our 888s, every single one of them, no traction issues whatsoever. We have no traction issues on the street, making both of our cars really making over 800
from a dig.
wheel.
We both have problems.
Well, yeah, but we don't from a roll
racing tires for sure.
Right, we don't do digs or nothing. We can't afford to break our cars every other day and fix them. So, but our 888s, I'm running Raceland coilovers. I know they're cheap, but the car surprisingly rides really well and it hooks. So I'm not changing anything on that aspect yet. I would like to run some drag racing coilovers in the rear like Mark did, but they're a lot of money. So if there's any question you guys have or I miss anything that you want to know, I can take detailed pictures. Just comment on the video, and we look at all the comments and everything on the video. But this is it. It's my beautiful race car, not perfect 300ZX. I hope you liked the video. Like I said, if you have any questions, just DM me or leave a comment, and I'll try and answer as best as I can, or try to help you guys out. But like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned.